Hello, welcome back to another quick video. Today we're going to be looking at water clocks, and this is something that has been around for quite some time, but it's something that I kind of came up with a new idea towards, and I wanted to have a bit of a play today. So before I go on, this is the third time I've recorded this video. I'm having some hardware issues, so I apologise if there's any juddering and stuttering as we go through this, but I will try and be as quick and concise as I can be. Hopefully it will be okay. But yeah. We're going to look at water clocks. Now, the reason we're doing this is it's something that I'd not really used for a very long time in the game. Water clocks used to be something that were quite important when it came to handling a space biome, or a lot of people considered them to be the only real way to handle your space biome. Now, one of the leaders on the forums for this sort of stuff is good old Saturnus. Now, Saturnus has done a lot of work with water clocks. He actually has a nice little thread here that I will link you in the video description. Again, this was really handy back when meteors were, or scanners rather, weren't as good at detecting meteors, and you'd struggle sometimes between the peaceful season and the aggressive season on your asteroid strikes, if you like. So water clocks was something that became in vogue then, but they do have other uses in the game, and I basically had a bit of a brainwave today and thought I'd try something out. But as I say, I'll link you this original thread so you can have a nosy. There's some interesting reading in there. But basically, water clocks are essentially used for timing within the game. Now, let's say you have something that you want a dupe to do once every, 3 or 4 cycles. Maybe it's you want to open up your ranch and go and kill all your critters that you don't need, or you want to go and harvest collect the lumber from those trees that you've left to sort of wildly, drop their debris. This is the sort of application for a water clock. Now, currently we do have a means of testing how long has passed within the game, because we do have buffer gates. The only drawback of buffer gates is they will only go up to 200 seconds. And what we can do is daisy chain buffer gates together, and that's what I've tried to demonstrate here. You can link the output from one buffer gate into the input of another, and so you can add more and more time onto your circuit. So for example, here we've got 6 in a row. Each one of these is 200 seconds, so we're actually counting 1200 seconds, which, isn't bad. That's 2 cycles. But what if you want to count 10 cycles or 20 cycles, or, what if you want to count an hour within the game or something like that? Well, for that we'd need the water clock, and that's where this sort of comes into play. This is a very small build, it's very compact, very easy to build, and it's incredibly simple, so I hope you like it. What we've basically got here is a section of pipe. This is the original start of the build. I'll show you this little loop I've done over here. What we have here is 2 sections of pipe and then a valve. Okay, now a valve, its input and its output are technically one piece of pipe. So even though we've got what looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of pipe here, the valve is kind of a magical thing, like a bridge. It's considered as one output, one port. So what we have here is 2 packets of water in 3 pieces of pipe, and we've got an element sensor. The element sensor is set to a NOT gate and is detecting water. So what that means is, whenever there's water within the pipe, the element sensor doesn't output a signal. But as soon as this water packet starts to leave this piece of pipe, it will output a signal which lights up this little lamp. Which means every 3 seconds, based on how water moves within pipes in the game, it moves 1 pipe segment every second. We basically get a signal every 3 seconds, and we can count. So when the light next goes off, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And it's pretty spot on. It's very precise. I've ran this for many cycles now at like max speed to make sure it was stable. It's pretty spot on. Now, with that in mind, it then got me thinking, well, what if I did 10 segments of pipe? So what we've basically got here is 8 segments of pipe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 2 valves, which as I mentioned, are technically classed as 1. So that's 10 sections of pipe in total. And all this basically does is keep our flow going. Within the pipe, though, we've only got 9 packets of water. So what that means is we're going to have 9 packets of water going over our element sensor, but this gap here, when we get to this gap, the element sensor is going to go, well, there's no water here, I'll output a signal. And that's what it does. Boop. So when this lights up, that means our element sensor has counted 10 seconds. This lamp here is just to show you that. At which point the automation signal continues and goes to a little liquid shutoff. These liquid shutoffs up here, by the way, they're all just different timers. This is basically the build, just one of these here. But I just did a little showcase so you can see how it works, basically, with multiple timers. But all we've got down here at the bottom is a pump. this pump goes up to this line where it bridges into a shut-off. The shut-off then directly connects to a vent, okay? Now, the beauty of this is we know that we're going to deliver a 10 kilo packet. There should always be water in the pipe up here because of this bridge. There's always a packet of water here, a full packet of water ready to go. And as long as we know it's a full packet of water, every 10 seconds we know we're going to dump 10 kilos. Boop. So now we've got 10 kilos in there. So what we can now do is we know that every 10 seconds we get 10 kilos. If I set this hydrosensor to emit a signal when we're above 59 kilos, that means we've received 6 packets. That means basically a minute has passed. So if I speed this up now, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, okay? So we now know that 1 minute has passed, and when 1 minute has passed, we've got a little bit of automation up here that comes from this same hydrosensor. So the hydrosensor below, first of all, opens the doors. We need it to open the door to drop the water back down into the pool down here and basically reset the timer, okay? So that drops down the water, and then the signal continues over to here where it hits a NOT gate. Now, it goes straight through the NOT gate into an AND gate, so this is just a normal positive signal. And then the other side of the NOT gate goes into the other port of the AND gate. And what this acts to do is give us a very, very brief signal. And that signal is just enough to start a buffer gate, okay? So this buffer gate here is set to 1 second. And this then controls all of our other shutoffs. So what we've basically done is we've timed 1 minute, and then from 1 minute we can time whatever we want. We can do 2 minutes, 6 minutes, an hour, 24 hours, you can do whatever you want. The only restriction is how much liquid you can fit into your space. So basically, if you need to do more than, you know, a full tile's worth of liquid, you just go taller. Simple as that. But essentially then, as I say, we will toggle the automation on, which toggles these pumps on just for a second, which will drop me 1 packet of water. Okay, so this sensor here is set to above 19 kilos. What that means is this will have received 2 of these 1 minute packets, which means we get a 2 minute signal. This one here is set to be above 59 kilos, meaning that we've had 6 packets delivered for 6 minutes, or a full cycle. So if you wanted to do, you know, say you wanted, as I said before, maybe 20 cycles so that you can send your dupe to harvest your, you know, collect your lumber from your arbor trees, or send your dupe to get your bristle blossoms that have fallen off wildly, or something like that. This is how you could time that. You could make it so that you could time it so a dupe can only get access to a ranch every, you know, half an hour or something like that. It's kind of cool when you think about managing your base like that. This one here should be a shame timer, so you know to go up and stretch your legs if you played the game for too long. In fact, maybe that should be about 6 hours, something like that. But anyway, you get the idea. As long as we have a solid amount of time to count up our packets and basically give us a 10-second signal, we know that every 10 seconds this turns on, 10 kilos is delivered, 6 times 10 seconds gives us a minute, and away we go. That's how we do this. So that is my take on a water clock. It's something that I'm probably going to try and incorporate into my bases from now on. It's something that I think is quite cool. And I did another little variation over here as well, because I know there's some of you out there that are going to say, but this pump, it costs power, it's expensive, and blah 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 blah. So I've done another little variation over here. Now I don't quite like this the same, it's not as precise, but I'll explain what we've done here, just to, in case any of you want to have a bit more of a tinker with this yourself. As ever, I'll include the save file in the description so you can have a play with this to your heart's content and figure out some other shenanigans, hopefully. But what we've basically got on this side is a pump. This pump goes to a bridge, and I should probably just drag in this little picture here. This was shamelessly stolen from Wachunga. Wachunga? Mwah, love you. Wachunga uses this build in his sour gas, petroleum cookers, that sort of thing. And what this does is allows us to deliver a very precise packet without ever delivering anything smaller. The problem with pumps is occasionally when you toggle them on with automation, the first packet they pump can be an irregular size and kind of balls things up. So what we've got here is a bridge from the pump into a pipe, and that then goes to a shut-off. Now, we're only bridging into this pipe. That's important. I'll show you the rest of this in a second. But the shut-off basically then delivers the water as and when we need it. It's going to deliver every 10 seconds because I've hooked it up to the same little timer over here. And every 10 seconds, it's going to deliver 1 packet. Now, the problem is I've set these valves to only be 1 kilo. So I only technically want 1 kilo of flow. So what I need to make sure is that the liquid has somewhere to go so it can bypass. So in a second, there's our packet. We're delivering 1 kilo here. This will be 1 kilo, and this will be 1 kilo. And then the rest of our packet bypasses and then goes back into this bridge. And this bridge is the priority on the loop. So this bridge always has somewhere for that liquid to go. and round it goes. And what we've basically got here is the same principle, it's just some hydro sensors. This one is set to dump every 20 seconds. If it receives 2 packets, 2 times 10, 20 seconds, it'll dump its water. This one here is 40 seconds, and this one here is a minute. So same principle, just a smaller packet size. The only thing to consider with this is we obviously have the pipe distance that the liquid is moving. Now I've done this like this on purpose so you can see. Depending on how you set this up, you may want all your pipe lengths to be identical. It really depends on how you're doing the build. Realistically, if you were just doing 1 clock, it doesn't really matter how long your pipe segment is because you're measuring it from when it receives the first packet of water anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. It all just catches up with itself. But yeah, that is the build, guys. I hope that's somewhat interesting. I thought it was a cute little take on the water clock, as I say, and if you consider that the build is essentially that to there, I think it's quite a nice little cute build, and it's something, as I say, I'm going to try and incorporate into my own bases. Maybe we'll do it for something like a mass culling off of crabs or slicksters or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, as ever, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you would like to come and catch up with me live, I'm normally on Twitch 4 days a week, so Monday, Tuesday... Wait, 5 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday and Sunday from 4 PM BST. If you have any questions, do pop them in the YouTube comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But other than that, much love as ever. Take it easy. Bye-bye.